Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show is brought to you by premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, Bugmobile of Arkansas, H&R Block of Mississippi County, Ed Harshman and Harshman Reynolds, and Roller Swift Funeral Home. Council member Tyler Dunnigan. Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Grant Barnett. And now, the Robert Hook Show. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Robert Hook Show. Want to welcome Coach Robert Hooks with us tonight, and also my partner in crime down there, big member of the Seminole Nation, Mr. Bobby Eflin. Jay Gonzalez is behind the pushing all the buttons and doing all the work behind the scenes tonight. Appreciate him for everything he does, folks. Last week, your Osceola Seminoles goes to Hoxie. What a ball game! Seminoles beat the Hoxie Mustangs 41-14 for the first conference game. Coach, we talked a little bit about how Hoxie was going to be dangerous, and there's no doubt they were. They come right out on the front end, hold them to a fourth down, 6 yards from pay dirt. They go around the right side. We thought he stepped out of bounds. A lot of people think he stepped out of bounds. Referees didn't think so, and they go on top 7-0 right there off the front end. Just talk a little bit about that sequence. Had a lot of success on the ground there. And just talk a little bit about the first sequence on offense for Hoxie.
Well, on the first drive, we had had a couple of big plays where we bagged them up and had them at first and second and 15, and had them at third and 10. You know, we kept them behind the chains early, but their fine quarterback did a great job of making football plays. And what happened on the touchdown? You know, we had one of our defensive ends goes inside and just loses his gap responsibility, and that's exactly where he comes from. And also we had an outside backer who was supposed to be in the flats that dropped the hook curl, and you know, we would have been in position, but you know that happens, and what that is again is still youth. You know, guys who need game like experience, and they did exactly what they should have done. And you know, after watching it on film and you know slow playing that he got in, it was a great effort by him, and he did score. So you know, I'm just proud of the way that we bounced back and answered.
That's exactly right. Go down 7-0 on the road at Hoxie. Their momentum's in their court. And Bobby, what happens right after that? Seminoles get the ball back. Number 2 MJ Vance has a 9-yard touchdown run. Extra point was good, and now we're tied, Bobby, 7-7.
You know, we talk about it all the time. You hear it's coach speak at some point, but we've heard coach talk about it before. It's not about what happens, it's about how you respond. How do you come back and face that adversity and deal with it? And I thought that what I saw out of that drive was chunk plays. You came out and we had 10, 13-yard chunk plays right off the bat. I thought the offensive line blocked really, really well. MJ was his normal solid self. Mr. Dependable out there, Trey Moore, he's doing everything. He's catching the ball and he's blocking. I noticed Trey and Greg on that drive doing a lot of blocking on the running plays. They were really out there. And I noticed Bill Estelle a couple of times. Bill had some big pancake blocks on that drive. So the response was exactly what you expected and what you wanted from a football team. Come back, hit them hard, hit them in the mouth, and let's start the game over.
Coach, we go 7-7 after one quarter, so we got a good ball game happening at the time. We get right inside the second quarter with 11:54 left. Number 2 MJ Vance has a 9-yard touchdown run. 2-point conversion was kind of mishandled by the holder. Tried to get up and run with it, and kind of didn't get the 2-point conversion from there. So at that time we lead 13-7. Talk a little bit about how we come back there. We stop them on defense and get that score there.
Well, we got to stop and just took our time and had a nice little drive there, and MJ finished it off with, I think it was the quarterback sneak on that one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we run a quarterback sneak and he gets it in, and that was one of the plays where Bill ended up getting a good pancake block, and also Kenyon Troop and AJ Harris on the left side did a great job right there on that play.
Bobby, we go give the ball back to Hoxie, make them punt to us. We get the ball back, 8:28 left in the second quarter. This is when you see us open the passing game up. MJ Vance has a 41-yard touchdown pass to Stephon Coleman. Stephon ended up running the 2-point conversion in. At that point, Bobby, we're up 21-7. And Bobby, when the pass was thrown to Stephon, you got him in space, and man, he was dangerous when you got him in space.
Yeah, I think we talked about that when right before the ball was thrown. I think I even blurted out they got him, and it was obvious Stephon had a step. And then once he caught the ball and was able to really get motivated, you saw his speed. You saw the speed really come out. And we were talking about this on the live feed about this is the opportunity to take control of the football game. Right here, we take control of the football game and really take the wind out of their sails and make it difficult for them to mount any kind of comeback. And that's what we saw the Seminoles do. Exactly.
And Coach, just right here, we'll go on to the only other score in the second quarter. MJ Vance has a 20-yard touchdown run. He kicks the extra point. You're going to go into halftime leading 28-7. Now, what I want to commend you on in the first half, excellent play calling. You had them off balance. They didn't know if you were going to hand it off, if you were going to throw it across the middle, and you used MJ perfectly. When he took off running, he got big yards most of the time. But I love the defense. The defense was huge. Right there before the half, Hoxie's driving. You're up 28-7. Me and Bobby are trying to explain to everybody that if we can stop them, keep them out of the end zone, we're going to get the ball in the second half. That we can break it open, make it even bigger, and you get 2 for 1. That's what I call it.
Right.
If you get the ball in the second half, if you can score right before the half, you get the ball in the second half, come out and score, you've got 2 for 1. I call it the rising. I always convert back to the rising play because I really believe in my heart that's what pushed us over the edge for that rising game was getting that 2 for 1.
Right.
Talk a little bit about your defense in the first half.
Well, Carlos Woods did a phenomenal job at nose. He's a smaller guy, but he's a relentless guy, and he put pressure on the quarterback all night. And of course, you had A.J. Harris and Kamarian Brooks did a good job of helping us on the edge. And, of course, we started to send Dunn. And Dunn provided a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I thought that when we got a chance to get after him, we did a good job of continue to apply pressure. And even with applying pressure on that guy, he was able to still make some plays and make us look bad at times. You try to warn him and tell him. Remember, I told you he's a violent runner. He was fast, and he showed everything that I thought that he could do. He did it to us. I think he still had over 100 yards rushing, 160 yards rushing. So it's not like we completely shut him down, but we made plays when we needed to make them.
Bobby, while we're talking about defense, talk about what me and you talked about. How a coach could kind of mix it up with he'd take Don and walk him up and maybe blitz him, but he'd always use the other linebacker to come back. Talk a little bit about that philosophy.
I thought Coach Teague schemed it up perfect.
He did.
And he knew that if he could create penetration in that RPO offense, that's what that's the death knell of an RPO offense is being able to get penetration into the interior and disrupt that timing of that play. And what we saw, and I recognized it pretty quick, was we're walking the linebackers up, but we're not sending them both. We're walking them up and we're stunting the linebacker. The other guy's rotating back, staying back in gap control. And even when Don, and we saw Don get really good penetration several times throughout the night, even when he didn't get home, it shifted everything. He got the quarterback, and Dalen Powell is one fine quarterback. The kid is an awesome football player.
Yes.
But he got him off track. He got him off track, and many times he disrupted that read that Dalen was looking for. So now he's not focused on the end, which is what they would normally be looking at in that RPO offense. He can't even concentrate on what the end is doing because he's having to look at Don Taven or AJ, whoever's on the stunt. And as we got later in the ball game, and this is, we always talk about playing to win and not playing to lose. one of the things that I wanted to keep stressing to Michael is don't back off. Don't back off. Continue to be aggressive with that defense. Continue to walk those guys down. Continue to bring that pressure. And for the most part, Coach Teague and yourself, you guys did that. And that, I think that's the difference to me. The offense executed flawlessly. I thought the offense played really, really well all night. But the ability to contain those two young men, Dalen and Shadarick Powell,
and
to
Riggs,
me, and Riggs, that's the difference in the ball game.
I agree.
Right.
Coach, we go to halftime, 28-7. Get in the third quarter. Seminoles get the ball. And, Coach, I watched you do something that a lot of people, they don't think you can do. You lined up, you played power football. You put your quarterback under center for the most part. You lined up and you handed the ball off, or you ran your quarterback, or you ran the end around, or whatever you wanted to run at them. And you let them know that if we need to, we can line up and play power football. Talk a little bit about that in the third quarter.
Well, that was something that we wanted to go to as a change up, and just to, you never know when you're going to have to run the football again, whenever we have a rain game. So we wanted to kind of work on that, and I thought that the guys executed it fairly well. Still had some hiccups, but for the most part, we executed, and we got 3 and 4 yards a pop. So that was good, and that was just a good confidence booster. But the ball handling with the play action and also with the bootlegs, I thought was good. And then once we got the end to coming, trying to come backside and make the play on the halfback, on the running back, I knew that the reverse was open. So we score. We throw the fast screen special and throw it to Dan. He scores. They call the penalty on us, holding on Kenyon. So we come right back to the reverse, and I think that right there was the dagger. Right. If they had they stopped us there, I think it would have gave them some momentum, and would have been in a dogfight. But coming back and able to score on the reverse was huge. And again, Stephon showed what kind of speed he had, and just actually being a tough runner.
I agree.
He finished it and scored at the end.
I agree. Just like Coach just mentioned, folks. Only score in the third quarter, 1:22 left in the third. Stephon Coleman has a 28-yard touchdown run on the reverse. I think the extra point was blocked there. Seminoles lead 34-7 at the end of the third quarter. Coach, fourth quarter is kind of like a back and forth. With 3:56 left in the ball game, you get a 26-yard touchdown pass from your sophomore Dontavian Littleton to number 10 Landry and Clayton.
On a dime.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Extra point was good. You led 41-7 there. Folks, with 5 seconds left, they pick up a score on a 3-yard touchdown run by Dalen Powell. Seminoles beat the Hoxie Mustangs 41-14. And Bobby, let's just talk a little bit about some of the keys that we had talked about in the beginning and how it worked out for them in the end, especially with the offense and defense both.
We talked about the problems. You talk about the defensive side of the ball in the beginning. The problems with the interior of the Seminole defense have shown up against Gosling, against Blyville, against Nettleton, against Valley View, and the ability of teams to run between the tackles on Osceola and make good yardage. For the most part, those problems were somewhat corrected Friday night. When you're trying to contain 3 running backs, a quarterback and 2 running backs, of that caliber, if you think you're going to stop them every time, you're just wrong.
It don't work.
But what I did see was the stiffening of the defense when it had to stiffen, and Hoxie did move the football fairly well between the 20s, but when the field got compressed, they had a lot more difficulty being able to open those holes up. We were able to bring our safeties down a little bit and play a little tighter. So I thought the scheme defensively was really, really well managed. I was a little worried when Rod Hale came out of the ball game. Rod's a big hitter. Rod sticks his nose in places. He gets good penetration. He's fast, plays really well. I thought, and when you mentioned DeCarlos Woods, he was disruptive all night. He has some speed. The kid's quick, and he was in the backfield a lot. Of course, AJ and Dontavian I thought played really well, and then of course Greg and Trey they always come through there. And what we saw in the management of the game, I thought was really, really, really good too. When Rod comes out of the ball game, that experience comes out. I see you starting to feed MJ in there a little bit, but you're trying to manage him and manages his fitness and his ability, his stamina to continue going on. On the offensive side of the ball, what I saw was we cleaned up, for the most part, a lot of those penalties, a lot of those pre-snap penalties that had haunted us all year, were for the most part cleaned up. We talked about that coming out in the third quarter. Man, we're in control. We can't come out and do what we did against Blau. We can't come out and do what we did against Gosnell. And we had a couple, but they were for the most part negated by better play. I thought the offensive scheme kept Hoxie on its heels all night. Once the offense started rolling, you never lift the pedal, and you go out there, you use tempo when you need to use tempo. But then late in the third quarter and into the fourth quarter, when we know we got to run clock, we got to get out of here. Power football, and I'm a power football guy. I like taking my 11, lining them up, and saying I'm going to run right there. You stop me, and you can't stop me, and that's what you did. So I thought overall, and I know going back and looking at the film, you're going to find things you want to correct. You're going to find things that you didn't like. The silly penalties seemed to go away. We didn't have the personal foul things going on. Not as many false starts, Right. You did have the holding negate one big play, but you come back 2 or 3 plays later, you make another big play. Right. I thought the offensive line was the best they've looked all year. And I did notice Bill for the most part. I noticed Kenyon some, but I think Bill Estelle probably had the best ball game that he's had this year, definitely. And he was manhandling the guy across from him most of the night. So, it was just a well-played ball game. And I think, we talked about in the Blyville game what we saw in the first half being executed just about as well as you could ask for it to be done, and then you have the second half problems. I think with Hoxie, that was 4 quarters of really well executed football. And I think that's what you've been looking for was give me 4 quarters, guys,
right?
And we can play with anybody. So,
well, that was part of the halftime message. Just come out and we can't do what we've done the last 2 games. Have to come out and we need to score. And if it hadn't been for a dumb play call by myself, we probably would have scored. So very, very proud of the team. Very proud of the coaching staff. I thought we did what we come to do.
Folks, that's a great analysis, Bobby. You did a good job there of a great analysis of the ball game. You said everything that I would have said. You did an excellent job there. That's why he's the best color analyst in the game, folks. I promise you there. Because he just took all the words out of my mouth. Seminoles beat Hoxie 41-14 on a big win on the road. What we'll do now, folks, let our sponsors get a word in here. We thank them so much for sponsoring the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. We'll come back, talk about the Walnut Ridge Bobcats. We got to go there this Friday night, so we'll have the scouting report on the Walnut Ridge Bobcats, and then we'll talk about picking some football games. So we'll be right back.
First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is the official bank of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. Our premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, is Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas specializes in all your banking needs, including personal banking, online banking, business banking, savings accounts, loans, CDs, and IRAs. Go down to the First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, speak with President Greg Reese and teller supervisor and loan processor Taylor Lucius for all your banking needs. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is a proud sponsor of the Osceola Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, member FDIC. Bugmobile of Arkansas, located at 408 South Walnut in Osceola, specializes in pest control and termite control for both residential and commercial properties. Owners Oscar and Jade Gonzalez would be happy to come out and give you a free estimate, and you can also contact Bugmobile at 870-563-6811. Bugmobile is a proud sponsor of your Osceola Seminoles and the Seminole Nation. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a tax preparation and financial service located at 2981 West Kaiser in Osceola. They can be reached at 870-563-5710. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals, located at 202 West Johnson in Osceola, can meet all of your residential and storage rental needs. Harshman's has apartments and housing located throughout Osceola and Mississippi County, both furnished and unfurnished, available for rent. You can contact Harshman Rentals at 870-563-3694. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals are a proud sponsor of Osceola Seminole Athletics and the Seminole Nation. Roller Swift Funeral Home of Osceola is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and Osceola Seminole Athletics. Located at 2173 US 61 South, Roller Swift Funeral Home specializes in funeral services and helping families with the costs associated with them. For more information, contact them at 870-563-6578 and speak with David Tucker. Roller Swift Funeral Home, with all our respect. Councilmember Tyler Dunnigan is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. Tyler is working for a better Osceola with real commitment and real results. Councilmember Tyler Dunnigan for a better Osceola. Farm Bureau Insurance of Osceola and Agent Grant Barnett proudly sponsor the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. Contact Grant for all of your auto, home, and life insurance needs. You can see Grant at 3125 West Kaiser in Osceola and contact him at 870-563-6561. Farm Bureau Insurance and Agent Grant Barnett are proud sponsors of the Seminole Nation.
And welcome back to the Robert Hooks Show. Again, you just listen to our sponsors. I want to thank our sponsors so much for allowing us to do what we do, especially First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. They are our premier sponsor. They're the ones that really came on board at the very beginning and made this thing possible, and we appreciate them so much. And also all the other sponsors you got to hear. They were very huge parts in what we do, and we appreciate y'all so much. Coach, this week, on the road one more time, right across the street. We were at Hoxie last week. We just crossed the street, and you're in Walnut Ridge. And a little bit about Walnut Ridge, Coach. They got a new coach, Mr. Jeff Blake. It's his first season. Comes over from Hoxie. That's weird. We could talk about that all day long because, Hoxie and Walnut Ridge don't really get along. But he comes over from Hoxie. They are 3-1 on the year. Had a big win over Marktree week 1, 42-6. Then they played East Poinsett County 42-0. And beat Salem 26-22, which Salem's a good football team. But last week they played the Newport Greyhounds, and it just didn't go well for them. Lost 55-13. So, Coach, at this time, if you will, let's talk a little bit about the Walnut Ridge Bobcats.
Well, first off, the thing that we need to understand is that in that game, Walnut Ridge had 3 turnovers. They had that went for touchdowns. Had 2 scooping scores, and they had a pick 6. And, they actually moved the ball on Newport. So that right there cut a lot of their momentum down. But I think that they are a good football club. And they kind of remind you of Goswell. When Goswell was getting ready to come in and play us, they had 2 games where they got blown out. But, you look at the tape, you see that they're moving the football. So we expect nothing but the best from them. And they have a good group, man. They have a running back, quarterback, wide receiver, whatever you need him to be. He's going to play at number 21, Cole Manning. He kind of does everything. I'm telling you, they'll line him up at running back, line him up at quarterback. He'll run it and pass it, line him up receiver. And, he's out there making one-hand catches. So he's a guy that we definitely have to know where he is. And when he's not in the backfield at quarterback, they have Andrew Brewer, number 2, a guy who is really shifty and fast that can throw a good ball. So we have to know where those 2 guys are at all times, and we're going to have our hands full with those guys. And they also have a big H-back tight end body, number 82, Mason Andrews. He does a good job of setting the edge and blocking on the edge. And, we're just going to have to make sure that we don't let them overpower us in the run game. Defensively, they have a middle linebacker, inside linebacker. Nash Gill, number 33, is a guy that flies around and make football plays, man. I'm telling you, he's pretty good. We have to know where he is at every play. We have to know where Nash Gill is. They also have a big nose guard, 6'6", 330, Jonathan Albel. He's a guy that, I don't care what you're doing. If you're 6'6", 330, you take up a lot of space, and he does a pretty good job for him at nose. So, we're gonna have, it's not gonna be a walk in the park. We're gonna have our hands full, and we expect a good ball game, and we just have to come out and try and duplicate our performance at Hoxie. But it's gonna take us doing all the little things right. And first off, it starts with focus and practice. So we're gonna hopefully we'll be up for the challenge.
I agree. And Bobby, just a little bit, going to Walnut Ridge. Talked to their principal this morning. Fine individual. We talked on the phone for a few minutes. He's looking forward to the Seminole Nation coming over and being with us this Friday night. I know that I've got a lot of friends that live in Walnut Ridge and Hoxie both, and they've been circling this date all year long because it's just something. I guess when you're been the top dog, everybody circles you on their calendar. So Bobby, just keys to this game of how Osceola can win this ball game.
When you look at the matchup on paper, and especially after last week, I think most people would pencil Osceola winning on this, but I think Coach hit on it. I'm not so sure that the keys to win the ball game happen in the ball game as much as they happen the rest of this week. I think the real issue here is for the Seminoles to focus and practice, to go out there and go about their business and get the job done, and not think past Walnut Ridge. And I think that's everybody, we want to talk about the ball game, what happens in the ball game and how players play. But I think this week of preparation is going to set the tone for Friday night, and how these kids go about their business this week to focus in on what they've got to do Friday night to get another win is huge. I don't think that Walnut Ridge matches up very well with Osceola speed-wise. I think there's some distinct advantages on the edge for Osceola. But again, it all goes back, do you come Friday night ready to play? And you get ready to play Friday night on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yep. So I think that's the key to the game, is the focus and preparation.
I agree. Walnut Ridge is a good football team. They will be ready for Osceola Friday night. We cannot take that for granted. We got to go over there, execute our offense, play good defense, minimize the penalties, no turnovers. And I really believe if all that works out, we'll be close or be there in the end. I promise you that. So that is a scout report on the Walnut Ridge Bobcats this Friday night, 7 o'clock at Walnut Ridge. Let's talk about the pick'ems, Bobby. We'll transfer into our pick'ems from last week. I'm not going to listen to no mouth. But I'll tell you this. I start with Osceola and Hoxie, 41-14. We both picked, we didn't pick the game. We don't pick the Osceola game because we call it. But that was a big win for the Seminoles. Pickett 44, Manila 14. I think we both picked Pickett on that game, so that worked out. Walnut Ridge was at Newport. We did both pick Newport in that game. The game I watched all night long, it was close at the half. But Harrisburg goes to Corning, gets the W 45-13, and I think that score is a lot closer than what it shows. I really do. We saw the halftime score.
You were all excited, and it went.
Man, I tell you, Corning let me down. But that's
your birthday balloon went.
Well, but that it is what it is.
What was the halftime score?
16 to 6. Yeah, it was a good one. I thought it was a good one at that point. But, I'm not going to sit up here every week and just pick the obvious what we think we're going to do. We're going to try to pick some upsets and hope
I'm trying to win. I don't know what you're trying to. I'm trying to win.
Well, I'm going to win by picking the upsets. I'm just telling you right now. And you got me right there by one game, so we'll see what happens.
And I'd like to tell the Seminole Nation that I wanted a placard 1-0 to put, and I was refused to allow to put up my my record. My record is 1-0. Your record's 0-1.
Is that no other words we don't know what they mean? Placard.
I'm gonna buy you a thesaurus and a dictionary.
Or do you want a let's see? do you want a plaque? Maybe you want a plaque, or is it a placard?
Let's move on.
Coach, which one is it, Coach? Is it a plaque or is it a placard?
It could be a sign.
It's a sign.
Yeah, it's a sign. There you
go. Did he say sign or did he say placard?
Placard.
I mean, I just wanted to know.
You're trying to avoid getting beat.
Kind of like yeoman's work.
Get it. That's right.
Yeoman's work.
Most people with the vocabulary know what that means. So just let's get to the pick'em so you can lose again.
All right, this week, folks. This week, The pick'ems are up. Osceola's at Walnut Ridge. We won't call that, and we just gave the scouting report on it. Bobby, Corning is at Manila. Homecoming at Manila.
Manila.
Is that all you got to say?
I just don't think that, number one, it's at home. It's homecoming. The Manila players are going to be ready to go. They're going to be fired up for homecoming. And I do think Manila played a little better than their score reflected last week. They had some issues that let the ball game get away from them. I just don't think Corning has the horses to hang with them. Not at home.
Well, there you go. So not so fast, my friend. What I'm going to do, they are not going to let me down 2 weeks in a row. They're not going to do it. Hey, nothing against Manila. I mean, I got a lot of friends over there, but Corning is not going to let me down 2 weeks in a row. Corning pulls the upset at Manila on homecoming.
It would be an upset.
We got crickets here. You don't think that could happen?
Anything could happen.
I mean you got to watch Jay.
The whole Manila football team can come down with Seminole, and they'd have to forfeit.
Jay is an alumni from Manila. So he's over there. He left the room. That's how mad he is that I picked Manila. But, folks, let me tell you, I am real as they come. Corning pulls the upset at Manila. All right, Bobby, Harrisburg's at Piggott.
It's going to be a ball game.
Yeah.
This is going to be a ball game.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, home field advantage goes a long way. I think Piggott's power running game is too much for Harrisburg's defense to manage, and I think Piggott's going to win.
Wow. So Harrisburg can go 5-0 for the first time in a long time. And you don't think they're going to rise to the occasion and go down to Piggott and put it on Piggott?
I haven't seen out of their defense the ability to really stop the run very well, and that's what Piggott's going to do.
Piggott's going to pound you.
They're going to run the football.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to play at home at Piggott, and they're going to line up around that track in them lawn chairs, and they're going to let you hear it at every chance they get. Piggott's going to win the football game.
Well, you know who I'm going to go with?
Piggott.
I'm going with Harrisburg.
Ooh.
To be 5-0 for the first time. I don't know how long. Yeah. But it's been a long time.
You're trying to get them both back in the same night, right? You're trying to even things up.
Harrisburg goes to Piggott, folks. In my opinion, takes care of business. I'm going with Harrisburg on this one. Last one of the night, Bobby. Hoxie has got to travel to Newport.
Well, Hoxie has some issues to fix on their defensive side of the football. They're going to see the same type of offensive power that they saw Friday night, and they're going to Newport. And everybody knows it's tough to win in Newport.
No doubt about it.
So I got to pick the Greyhounds.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hoxie at Newport. Hoxie's explosive on offense. Newport's really explosive on offense. Clemmy Alcorn and that crew over there, I'm telling you right now, they can flat out put some numbers on you and put them on you fast. Only thing about Newport is their defense is a little suspect at times. I'm not saying that all the time. They've got playmakers everywhere, but there are times they miss assignments and allow you to get big yards on them or score quick. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think Hoxie can do it. Not this Friday. I think they're still reeling off that loss last week, and I look for Newport to win this game. I can't say it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to say it's probably going to be a pretty good game over at Newport. And
I think it'll be more of a shootout.
You do? You think it's going to be wide open?
I do. I think it'll be wide open.
It could be, but I don't know. I like Newport to win this game, but I still think Newport is dangerous, very dangerous. I'm talking about dangerous. If they can get it worked out on the defensive side of the ball, boy, I'm going to tell y'all, Newport's going to be a heck of a ball team. I promise you that. I would love to see Hoxie beat Newport. Don't get me wrong, because that helps. Well, if we can take care of business, that helps us because we got a Week 10 matchup with them at Osceola. So I'd like to see somebody maybe give them a loss before we get to us. That way, I'm not saying this is not easier because it's not no easier. You got to play the ball game no matter what. But it still it makes you understand a little bit about them. So I like Newport also. So let's recap. Corning at Manila. Bobby takes Manila. I'm taking Corning on the upset. Harrisburg's at Piggott. He taking the home team Pickett. I'm going to take Harrisburg on the road. So I'm taking 2 road teams to win. And then Hoxie at Newport, we both like Newport to win the ball game. That's this week's Pick'em here on the Robert Hook Show. And as we get ready to close this one out, folks, hey, next week is homecoming. But before we get to next week, we're gonna go and play Walnut Ridge this Friday night. Hey, I want to tell you how proud I am of the Seminole Nation. Not just what we call ourselves the Seminole Nation. I call everybody that packs them stands on Friday night, gets in them cars and drives over. I think everybody that calls and talks to Coach Hooks and tells them, you know, how good of a job he's doing, you know, that brings donations out. Everybody that is involved, everybody that sponsors a team meal, everybody that gives for the drinks after the football game, everybody. I mean, the administration, the teachers, the students, everybody that is a part of this Seminole football team is what I call the Seminole Nation. And I'm so proud of you. Y'all packed them stands last Friday night at Hoxie. And it made a difference, folks.
We traveled well.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes, it made a difference. We were right there on the visitor side with you. We got to see everybody. They had a full crowd. We had a full crowd. There was a lot of people on the track. Coach, just before we get out of here, let's talk about how important it is that these fans travel one more time and get up there in that stands for Walnut Ridge.
Oh, most definitely. You know, the kids, they feed off of that, and you know, it always helps for the crowd to bring that extra boost, you know, especially for defensive purpose more so than offense. You know, that fuels the defense and gives us energy. And just for the kids to look around and see that us to have a big crowd means a lot to them. And so let's pack the stands again and continue to support our guys. Thank you so much.
Bobby, anything on the travel?
You got to do it again.
Yeah, you got
to do it again. You know, you got a football team that's out here playing their hearts out, and they're getting better. And that's the thing I think that doesn't need to be lost on what we've seen this season is there's been a continual improvement of the product put on the field. And I know that Coach Hooks doesn't want to see that to the high point to be last Friday. He wants to see that continued improvement. And I think we can go a long way. We can go deep into these playoffs if we can continue to play with the same focus, the same energy, and the same fan support that we saw last weekend.
I agree 100%. So, folks, just real quick, next week's show will be the same. Tuesday night, we'll come to you one more time on the Robert Hook Show on YouTube and the Seminole Nation page. And we'll share it over to Facebook. That way people that don't YouTube, make sure you get it on Facebook. So tune in next Tuesday night again as we break down the film with Walnut Ridge. And then we talk about the homecoming game with Manila. I'll let you know on Monday, before we air this show, we will come to you with a recorded message to let you know what the big thing is going to be for homecoming.
It's going to be
fun. It is getting bigger as we speak. So 2 important dates. Go to the Seminole Nation Facebook page and YouTube page. Look Monday for our secret to be revealed on what's going to happen during homecoming week. And then Tuesday night, we have the Robert Hook Show. As again, we break down Walnut Ridge, the game of Walnut Ridge, and talk about the homecoming game with Manila. Bobby, any final words before we get out of here?
Nope.
Coach Hooks?
Go Noles.
All right. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. Thank the sponsors. And we will see you next week on the Robert Hook Show.